Hey there folks, Bill here, and welcome to part 4 of our Let's Build. Today's tutorial will be on making ourselves a Redpower lift, such as this one right here. A little bit slow, but I quite enjoy it. I think it adds a little bit to it. So as you can see, what the one we'll be building today will be going down in levels. So then you got yourself a up and down switch that you can make, and there it is. So then I think we'll get started on what we'll need for today's little build. First off, you're going to need a bluetricity power supply, whether that's thermopiles, Redpower solar panels. You're going to need something for frame motors. So just hook some solar panels up to a battery box and run a cable to wherever you want your lift to be. We'll get into that in a second. Sorry. So let's see, what will we need? So we're going to need 2 frame motors. So this will be your up and down momentums or whatnot. You need support frames. This is what we're building our landing out and what the motors will be moving. You'll need some covers. Now that don't have to be basalt brick, any sort of cover will do. Now these aren't just for decoration. What these will be doing will be stopping the frames from moving what they shouldn't be. So pretty much whatever a frame is in contact with, it will try to move as well. Whether that's a torch, another block, a buildcraft frame, it'll try and move whatever it's in contact with, unless that side that it's touching has a cover on it. Now I'll be using wireless transmitters and receivers. These are what will be behind the buttons or whatnot on each level. They're quite easy to make, and they save a lot of time and a lot of trying to figure out some wiring. Now we will need 2 counters and 2 timers, some red alloy wire, a screwdriver, some blue alloy wires. This is just for your power supply and whatnot, and probably just some building blocks of whatever you for decoration or for covering up the hole that we'll be leaving. And let's see, that's about it. Now a bit of preparation. I will suggest pretty much building a hole. As you can see, pretty much clearing out a section where you want your lift. So now I've done a little bit of preparing, pretty much just got my power supply down there, and I've made the frame lifting section, which will be flush in the wall. Now when you're building a frame, leave a block gap in between everything. Make sure you don't have any torches touching it and whatnot, and it also just makes it easier. It's the same with back here. If you're going to have a block next to it, make sure you have a cover on it like so, and just pretty much leave a block gap just to make it a little bit easier. So then I think we'll get started. Now the reason I got this pillar here, you can kind of think of it as like an elevator cable or whatnot. This is what we connected to the engine. This is what will be moving it up and down. Now the reason I don't just say have the engines at the top and get rid of all this is because it won't be able to move it down. It needs to touch a frame or it needs to be the frames will need to be touching each other for it to move it in one big block sort of thing. So I'll be having my landing up here, which will for this case just be a 3x3 square. Motors down here. So this will be able to bring it all the way down to its maximum depth, which will be level right here. Now I would suggest marking out your levels. If you'll be having a one like this, makes it a little bit easier. But the reason it can't go any lower is since this is about 30 blocks tall, once it goes down to 30 levels, it'll be touching bedrock. And now the reason I say you got covers on the bottom as well, which I still got 2 more to place, is because once it touches the bottom, if it's a frame without cover is touching bedrock, it'll try and pick that up as well. Now these I believe they only have a maximum of 1,000 blocks they can move all up. I'm pretty sure that can be changed in properties in your Tekkit folder. So let's see. Now I've just done this to save a little bit of time, but let's make our landing. So for me this will be a 3x3 square. It doesn't have to be even. You could have I don't know, 10 blocks that way, 2 blocks wide and whatnot. But this will be our lift, and this back bit will be flush with the wall, so you won't see it. And there we have it. There's the scaffold, really. So now what I'll be doing is placing block covers on each side of the frame. Be careful not to place frames where, covers, sorry, where it'll be touching a frame. So what I mean by there is, let's say if we get rid of this top block up here, if we stick a frame on, like let's just say, we remove this, place a frame right here. If we put a block cover right here, if we place our frame here, it won't be able to pick it up, if you sort of know what I mean. Covers stop it from moving anything really. If it has a frame on it, it won't be able to move it at all. I mean, if it has a cover on it, sorry. Having a bit of fun there. So let's see, let's just place covers pretty much everywhere. Now these do pick up torches as well, so make sure you don't have any torches in contact with it. And these are also just sort of decoration, just so you don't see the actual frames, because a lot of these bits won't touch anything, but still doesn't mean you have to see it. So just go around, place all these, and also build your frame support to a depth that you want it to be going at. So for me, that was at a height of 30. So if you're doing it at like 40, if you're going like lower, pretty much what you want to be doing is you can go to half the depth that you're currently standing at. So if I'm at, say, block 50 height, then my lift will only be able to go down to maximum of 25 before the frame hits bedrock. So here is our lift, just with these last covers on. Yep, that side's done. This side's not done. So if I didn't put these covers on, it would have tried to move this lamp once it goes down. So that there is the basic, that's the scaffold. Got our lift, got this going all the way down here to our motors, which we'll now place. So let's just see, gonna need a few blocks for this, like so. Okie dokie then. So what you want to do is place your motors. Now the side that it'll move the frames on will be facing the direction you're in. So if I'm sitting here, the frames will have to be on the same side, you've seen it in a second, sort of thing. So the side that the motors move is whichever side the arrow is on, and in that direction. So as you can see, it's only one side of the arrows. If you've got frames on the top or the back, it won't move it. It's the only side with the arrow. Now what you'll want to do is grab a screwdriver and put the bottom one facing up. So you want the arrows to be pointing at each other. Now the reason we have this is because the frame engine moves, the frame motor, moves it one block below it or above it, depending on which way it's facing. So the top one, which is pointing down, move all this down one block past it, pretty much. So what that means is, if we then have the up motor on the same level as this one, it won't be able to lift it up because it won't be in contact with it. So you just put one on top of the other and have the arrows pointing each other. Easiest way to remember it. Now I'll just add the 2 extra frames, since it's at its max height, and that's where my frames will be. So it's about 30 blocks long, and I've got 30 blocks till bedrock. Now just go and place your frames all around it, like so. Don't need to worry about putting covers on the side of the motors, since they won't grip the motor as long as it's on the side of the arrow. So pretty much if I have a frame on the top or the back and this tries to lift it up, it will also move the motor. So if its frame will only touch the side of the arrow, then you're fine. So there we have it. That is our frames all set up, our covers and our motors. Now it's time to do this redstone setup I talked about. So you're going to need 2 of these setups. As you can see, I've already set one up, just to save a little bit of time. But we'll go through what we'll need to make one of these. So what this is doing will be moving it only a certain number of blocks, instead of just all the way to its maximum and minimum depth. So this pretty much just gives you all the levels that you want, if you want more than one level and whatnot. So what we'll need for this, let's see, we'll need 2 counters. I'll only be using one since I've set one up already. Timers, I'd probably say 15 or so, transmitters and receivers, and some red alloy wire, whether it's redstone or just this stuff. Just need something to carry a circuit, power along. And I'll be using 2 levers just to test it at the end to make sure it's all working. So then let's place it. So for this, it's going to be, how many blocks wide is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be 5 blocks wide, so you want that gap. So it's going to be 2 on either side of the center. So you want 2 blocks clear wherever you're placing it. So I'll place this square in the center, 2 blocks side, 2 blocks clear either side. So we'll place our receiver down first. This will be taking the signal from the buttons on the landing. So for this one, I believe it will be the down button. So we'll have a transmitter up there hooked up to a button. When we want to go down, we'll press it. This will receive and send the signal through. Now let's see, got our receiver. We've got 1 block of redstone. We'll then place our timer, like so, pointing in the opposite direction. So the timer will be emitting the signal in the whichever direction you're facing. Receivers will be pointing in the opposite direction you are, sort of thing. So we've got our timer. We'll place 2 blocks of redstone again, and we'll place our counter. Now this will have positive and negative sides, as you can see. Now the positive is on the right side, negative on the left. So for this, we'll want the positive to be on the left of the timer, or the input on the right, I should say, sorry. Like so. Now if we just right click on our counter here, you'll see this interface. We've got a maximum count of 10. This means it'll count up to 10 before it emits a signal, so it'll get 10 on off ticks from this timer. As you can see here, this counts as 1 tick per on and off, so it'll count up to 10, it'll then emit a signal. So that means the plus side, per tick, it goes up by 1. Now since, as I was saying, if you set up your levels, my levels are 7 blocks apart, so we want our maximum to be at 7. Now increment, so this is here as I was saying. So each tick, it'll count up, it'll go up by 1 block, sorry, because our increment's at 1, until it gets to our maximum, and it'll emit our signal here. Now what we'll then want to do is our decrement here. We'll put this up to 7 as well. So that means when it gets a redstone signal from the other side, from opposite side of input, whatnot, it'll go down by 7. That'll put it down to 0. Now when it's on 0, this side, this part here will be emitting a signal. So what we'll then want to do is just wrap from this torch around over to the minus side. And as you can see, it jumped down to 0, and now this side emits a signal. Now what this is basically doing is it'll be setting up the timer so it can so it'll do 7 ticks, move this 7 blocks before it jumps down to 0 and frees the timer. Now what this will be doing is once it hits 0, we want to turn the timer off. So this will be making our level. So once it counts up to 7, as you can see, it jumps down to 0, applies a signal, turns the timer off. So that will be stopping us on each level. Now we'll be placing our transmitter. So this will be powering the motors, sending the signal to the motor. And we'll want to hook it up to our timer and redstone on either side. So what this is doing is each tick on the timer, it emits a signal on, from this side, left, right, in front. Each of that gets a signal once this ticks. So this will be ticking onto our transmitter here, which we hooked up to one of these. And the reason we make this little workaround is so when we hit a button up on one of our levels, it'll go around the timer and put this up by 1. So what that'll do is it'll remove this redstone signal and get the timer working again, so we don't have to keep on spamming the button, if you know what I mean. Now let's just place ourselves a lever here to test this. So this will be counting as a input from our receiver here. Quick on off, as you can see, the timer has started working again. This is counting up to 7. I think we'll just lower this down by a second, speed the lift up a little bit, and there we go. Counts up to 7, turns this off. So you'll want to make 2 of these, exactly the same, like so. So this here will be our up, and this here will be our down. So let's start figuring out our redstone then. So with this one, as you can see, I've named it all very simple. Lift to up press. What that means is, this is obviously lift 2 since I already have another lift. What this will be doing is each button I press on the levels, this will be receiving it. So this is pretty much saying will be the up button. So each time I press the up button on one of the levels, it'll get this going, and it'll be transmitting it to lift 2 up tick, which is our motor. so the motor will get 7 ticks. So let's go and place our receivers on our motors. We'll need a few blocks here, like so, and we'll place this one here. So our up motor is our bottom one, so we'll place our receiver like so, and put this onto lift to up tick, not up press. We'll want it on the timer since that's what it'll be receiving, like so. And let's place this one. Now this here will be down tick, like so, and let's set these two up. So this here will be my down button press, so lift to down press like so, and this here is transmitting it to our motor, so this will be lift to down tick, like so. Now I think it's time to do a little test. So this here is down, let's test it, and as you can see, our lift is going down. So now you just want to double check to make sure it goes down to the right level, and it has stopped on the level that I want it to. So that's excellent. Now it's time to set up buttons for the actual on each landing. So I'll put it back up to its maximum height again, just by running our up timer, and as you can see, it's going up. Now probably just the easiest way to set this up here is as soon as I get in, go from this side, and here we go. So since we got covers everywhere, we can close all this up again. Let's see, I had what was it? Something like that, I think. Ooh, I think it has got one more, I think. One more, I think. So let's just place this block so it doesn't go up too high. I think I might have stuffed it up a little bit here. Yes, I have. Put this up one. Let's just double check this. 7 7 7 7. Okay. So there we go. I think that's about right. No. So obviously it is touching something. Like I said, these have a tendency to grab things and try and move them. And this here was the issue. Now I had this random block here, and as you see, it was trying to pick up the block and move it up with it. So that's why I was saying, you've got to be very careful with these frames. Anything they touch, it's easy to break. These things are very temperamental. They grab at anything, torches, blocks. So you just got to be careful of how you place them and make sure you put covers everywhere. So let's put this back up to where it should be. And there we go, that's sorted that. Thinking it looked a little bit out of whack there. Okie dokie then. So, let's get rid of this block. And let's just cover this up a little bit now. Make it look all nice and clean or whatnot. So how we'll be doing this is we'll be placing transmitters like so. So this here will be for our two buttons. So we'll want this side to be down, this here will be lift to down press. This here is going to that first receiver we placed. And this here will be up press, lift to. Like so. And now just cover that with some blocks. And let's place some buttons. Here and here. And there you have it, folks. A very simple lift. A little bit confusing with the redstone, but it works. It works quite well, and you just need to do the same what you did there for each level, and cover all that off. So there is our elevator, folks. I hope it was easy to follow. If you have any questions, do leave any. I'm sorry for getting a little bit confused midway through, if you noticed that. But there's our elevator. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to leave any requests for other machines. Since the next machine I'll be building will be, if you remember from one of my earlier episodes, it was a solar panel factory. Got a request from a lovely fellow. He wants to see that moved up to a high voltage solar factory. So on one of these levels, once I've finished off my little factory room here, I'll be building a high voltage solar array factory. And so that's about that, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new. Maybe got a few ideas. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.